Hello, welcome back. It's Nerfeus, otherwise known as Al, and we're back here having a look at Brass Breech Stampede. This is an old school Holy Grail blaster. Back in the day, Nerf SG or Singapore Nerf, I can't quite remember, but some Singaporean Nerfer or Nerfers created a brass breech version of the Stampede by basically putting an angel breech in here. Angel breech was like basically chucking brass inside the receiver and adding a brass barrel. I'm fairly certain Liam Davis, Spectre Nerf, created the sleeper breech, which was like an improved version of that. And this features the brass breech design from my HPA Nerf Stampede. I took what I learnt from that and applied it to this. So, very brief overview, and then we'll open it up and have a look on the inside. So from front, Blastertech Scar, Mark II adjustable Scar, brass breech, or full brass barrel. It's about 20 centimeters of usable length. The breech itself you'll see more closely in a minute, but it's a pusher style breech. Then you have plunger tube, about 9 kilogram orange modwork spring. It's an old, fairly standard, and it's about the most that the stock gearbox can take, because this is just using stock gears at the moment. No cosmetics whatsoever done to this thing, but without any further ado, let's pop it open. Okay, we're open. Ta-da! Let's pull this out and talk. Okay, so what do we got going on? The magic is in the barrel and breech here. The Stampede, in its stock form, has the bolt travel through this orange ring here, which guides it and aligns it, allows it to pick up a dart, and then a bunch of switches that open and close the circuit at different times, and then this little lug trips the catch and fires the dart at the correct time. This is why brassing the Stampede is difficult, because you have to be able to cleanly pick up darts, cleanly chamber darts, fire darts at the correct time, and with enough power to clear however much barrel that you have. And because the plunger and tube and the pusher or the breech, whichever part you want to call this back here, retracts immediately after having been fired, there's a very small window of time for that dart to start accelerating and for the plunger to compress all of the air, accelerate the dart, and achieve velocity before the breech opens and you lose pressure out of the back. So, what we've done to solve that problem in this design is a few things. So the first thing we've done is made it half dart only. So with a Talon adapter, which we won't sit in quite properly, and a Talon mag, which I prepared earlier. One moment, please. The breech is forward shifted significantly compared to stock, where you've got the whole thing. So this affects the timing. Because it affects the timing, you've got to do something about it. So in order to make it so that it does fire at the correct time, we need it to release the catch earlier in its cycle to maximize the airflow, and that is achieved with one stupidly shitty janky little idea, which is literally this little black screw here. I'm sure you can't see it very well, but I'm going to bring it up to the camera so that you can. That little black screw there activates the catch release mechanism just a smidge earlier than in stock, which allows you to actually use the volume of air that's in the plunger tube, accelerate the dart before this whole system retracts. And it's one of the reasons why this particular version of the brass breech works. The next little bit of magic is in how do you align it, because this little cover goes so far to aligning it, but it's not perfect. So the barrel is 17/32 brass, and it's a little damaged here because testing equals damage. When you're brassing a Stampede, you can't avoid it. It's a complete pain in the ass, and anything that goes wrong chews the brass. So we are a little damaged, but we work. Then you just need to sleeve some 9/16 and then possibly the next size up, or use something else, so that this little orange clamp can actually clamp down hard and even glue in the barrel into there. The pusher is made of 1/2" brass, which slides beautifully inside the 17/32, which guides it in, picks up the dart, closes the breech, and away you go. A future revision for this may actually be to use a 9/16 barrel with a 17/32 pusher rather than a 17/32 barrel and a 1/2" pusher. It's a tight fit. A slightly looser fit may or may not result in better performance and better feeding and things like that, but something to consider if I do this again. The return spring needs to be upgraded. In this case, with a 9 kilogram Orange Modworks spring in here, the stock spring with 2.5 or 3 coils cut off is perfect as a return spring. It helps to make sure that the single trigger press results in 1 cycle, and this switch is not depressed any longer than is necessary by the plunger tube. Otherwise you get runaway, which is a big problem in Stampedes again. However, that return spring fixes that. Okay, the rest of it is pretty simple. Get rid of all of the locks and wires. You don't need hardly anything. The only switch I use is the stock trigger switch, which is connected to that. So you action that. Completes a cycle. If you hold it down, it completes continuous cycles until you stop pulling the trigger. Pretty simple. And of course, I left the opposite side safety switch in place because if something does happen and your barrel starts to get chewed up, or you've got runaway or something, you need to be able to switch off the circuit. The stock motor, this stock motor that drives the gearbox, is a monster. No one needs to replace that. If you're thinking about replacing it, don't. It will handle whatever current you throw at it. It is a machine. The gears, you can upgrade them to the metal gears from, I believe, Monkey Mods and Worker Kit sell those gears. Any commissions that I do on this blaster will be getting metal gears in them for longevity, but I haven't done it myself because this is just a proof of concept. Then again, basic circuit is just wired up to typical XT60 connector. And then this massive battery tray obviously houses whatever size LiPo you want to put in there. Alright, that's enough talking about the guts and the voodoo that makes this thing go. Let's button it up and take it outside and put a few darts through it. Alright, here we are outside at the Chronograph. We're going to do the obligatory numbers because people want to see numbers, and then we'll move on to actual bit more practical accuracy type shooting. So here we go, let's get some numbers. $123, $121, $123, $125, $126, $127, $128, $129, $130, $131, $132, $133, $134, $135, $136, $137, $138, $139, $140, $141, $142, $143, $144, $145, $146, $147, $148, $149, $150, $151, $152, $153, $154, $155, $156, $157, $158, $159, $160, $161, $162, $163, $164, $165, $166, $167, $168, $169, $170, $171, $172, $173, $174, $175, $176, $177, $178, $179, $180, $181, $182, $183, $184, $185, $186, $187, $188, $189, $190, $191, $192, $193, $194, $195, $196, $197, $198, $199, $100, $101, $102, $103, $104, $105, $106, $107, $108, $109, $110, $111, $112, $113, $114, $115, $116, $117, $118, $119, $120, 125. 119, 114, 125, 114, and we're done. All right, that is very consistent. All right, here we are outside. We've done some FPS testing, and now let's see if we can actually hit the target down the range there. I've shortened the range because less effective at long range, obviously, because it's not going to make the distance. So it's not the sort of thing that you're going to be sniping people with anyway. You're going to be running and gunning with this thing, getting up nice and close and putting semi-auto flywheeler rate of fire, but with Springer accuracy. So let's see if we can hit something. And just like that, we're out. Alright, so final thoughts on my Brass Breech half dart Stampede. It's pretty cool. It's old school. It was one of those unicorn blasters that back in the day, you know, everyone wanted to have one because it was full auto. It's an AEB, or automatic electric blaster. There's a couple of these coming out at the moment. The Challenger Mark III, I think is what it's called, by QWK. Mortality Nerf, who you should totally check out on YouTube, designed, I think he called it the Imperator, which is also a really mad build. And they're all, I suppose, inspired a little bit by the original Stampede. So, am I happy to have it? Hell yeah. Am I going to make a couple of these for people? Yes. Is it going to be easy or cheap? Cheap depends on your idea of cheap. Easy, no. Takes time. Alright, that's been my overview of my fully brass breeched Stampede. Thanks for checking this video out, and hopefully I'll see you in another one soon. Alright, catch you.